Evening everybody. Just wait for a few people to join before we get started. I'm just going to try and turn my iPad on so I can see some comments. Evening to you, Sharon. Hi to you, Gina. Hi Mum. Hi Bev. Lots of people. It's like doing a register tonight. Good afternoon, G Lee. Watching and shared. Sorry, I can't see because where my clamp is. Where are you joining from? North. I'll wait till someone else comments and then it will move up the screen. My girls decided they would play with my iPad this afternoon and run the battery down. So I've just gone to use it. Oh, here we go, and it's now starting. The joy of children. Hi Joanna. Hi Janine. You're in Washington on my lunch walk. Oh, that sounds a bit dreamy, Gina. Lovely. Lucky you. Okay, we're starting to boot up now. So welcome to everyone. Lovely to have you with me this evening. It's Wednesday evening here. It's dark already. I've had a lovely walk today with Emily. We've collected sticks. We've walked in the woods. We had hot chocolate. We saw some friends. It's been really, really nice. Good week so far. Nothing major to report. I was really lucky last night to be able to join in with a Stampin' Up event with my team and my upline and my higher team with the Pinkies, and the lovely Michelle last shared a really fun technique that I've tried before, and it's one of the techniques that I always forget about, but it's lots of fun and it's a great way to use your acrylic blocks. So for those of you that are watching that were part of last night, you may find this a bit boring. It definitely won't be as good as Michelle's tutorial, but we'll have some fun with it nonetheless. Excuse the state of my hair. I did have a hair appointment booked last Friday, but I sadly had to cancel it due to a poorly child. So who knows when I'll be able to get my hair cut. And I just can't do anything with it. So I'm embracing the it looks terrible look. Okay, so let's make a start. I'm going to turn my camera around and then we can do a little bit of crafting together. So bear with me, guys. Okay, so I have a very, very blank desk. I've got a dirty bit of grid paper from Monday. It's not too bad though. So last night, Michelle held an event for her Pinkies team, which I'm lucky enough to be part of. Excuse me. And it was all about acrylic block stamping. And I've done this technique many times, but it's one of those ones you always forget about. But I always have lots of fun when I do it. So I'm going to share it with you this evening. There may or may not be a little sneak peek of a few new things as we go along, but I'm sure you won't tell. So this is the little technique, and it's basically using the watercolour paper and your acrylic block to create these lovely background images, okay, which you can then use as toppers for your card. So I've just done something very, very similar. I haven't turned it into a card yet. I haven't had time, sadly, but I will turn this into a card. So I've created the little background with some balmy blue ink, and the important thing is leave it to dry. And then I've just used this cute little puffin, and the puffins have stolen my little heart. Here we have it, Party Puffins. This is brand new. You'll be able to get this in the new annual catalogue when it launches on Tuesday next week. Can't believe it's coming around so quickly. And isn't it just cute? It's so adorable. At first I thought, who needs a puffin? But who needs snails? And who needs strawberries? We don't need any of it, but we need to have it, don't we? So yes, Party Puffins, really pleased with that. It's a really fun set. And I'm sure you will start to see these puffins everywhere. So let's make a start on this really fun technique. So I have here some watercolour paper. Now, this is the watercolour paper that Stampin' Up offer. I think you get a pack of 10 or 12 sheets, but it's really lovely paper. And I'm just going to cut that down into a couple of little card topper size pieces. So I'm going to cut this down. I'm just going to cut a couple that are 9.5 centimetres wide, 9.5 by 9.5. Okay, and then we'll have a nice little 13.9. So I'm going to make this so it's just a centimetre smaller than my card topper. So Sharon, this particular paper is not smooth. Now it has a little, it does have some texture to it. If you wanted a smoother watercolour paper, you can use the shimmer white cardstock that's in the annual catalogue. It's not quite as porous, and to be honest, I haven't tried it with this technique, but it's really lovely. Okay, and I've watercoloured with both. So for this technique, you need to make sure you've got a lot of space. I'm going to be using a Stampin spritzer. So these come in a pack of 2, and I've just filled that with a little bit of water from the tap. I've got my balmy blue ink pad, and I've got my lovely block, which is here. Okay, something else that's handy to have with you is just some kitchen towel. So I've just got a piece of kitchen towel here. Okay, now for this technique, I find the best thing to do is to open up your ink pad, obviously, and I'm going to spritz the paper just ever so slightly to start with. What that does is that just moistens the paper, which is really helpful for this technique. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is quite simply and literally, I'm going to take my acrylic block to my ink pad and just give that a really good covering. Okay, so you can see there's a little bit of ink on there. Just close my ink pad, and then what we're going to do is we're going to spritz this little acrylic block. Okay, just a couple of times, and what that does is that basically makes the ink more pliable, and you get a lovely kind of texture on there. You can see where the ink is separating. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take the ink block to our card. I'm just going to put a little bit more on there. That's better. Okay, so I've already added a little bit of moisture to my card. I'm just going to add another one because it dries quite quickly, this watercolour paper. And then I'm going to just quite simply place my ink block on my card. Okay, and give it a little push. Now what you want to do is you want to let gravity kind of do its work and let that ink soak in, but when you think that you've got enough pattern on there, carefully lift up your block, and you do get a little bit of ink pooling. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just tap up to take off that excess with my paper towel. Okay, and isn't that just a beautiful background? Really, really nice. I'm going to leave that to one side to dry. In the meantime, I'm just going to give my acrylic block a little soak, and I'm going to do one in Bumblebee as well. Now, the more ink you add to your acrylic block and the more water you add, the more of a watercolour finish you get. So on this one, you've got quite a lot of pattern going on. It's where we haven't used enough water, but even so, it will still make a really nice finish. So this is my second one, and you can use any size block at all. So I'm going to use my D block. Okay, so I'm just going to tap that onto the Bumblebee ink pad, and that gives a really nice colour, doesn't it? I like that. And then I'm going to spritz my watercolour paper, and I'm going to spritz my block. Okay, and then again I'm going to add that. So I've used more water this time, and you can see that's really soaking in. Okay, now the other thing you can do is you can use a water painter brush, which I don't have one to hand, typical, and you can just spread that ink in. Okay, let me just grab that. Why is it I can never find one when I need one? Oh, here they are. Here we go. So lift that off, and you've got a really nice mottled background. Now if you want to add a little bit more ink, you can do that. So I'm going to add a little bit of spritz in my ink pad, pick up the colour with my water brush and then just go over. Okay, and that will just blend in a bit better. Okay. And I really like that. I think that's a lovely little look. Definite difference in colour. So we've got those two pieces there. Now let me just grab another one. Just going to bring that down. So that is another 9 by 13.9. Okay. Now what we can do is we can use our bigger acrylic block, and we're going to make a little, try and make a little bit of a puddle down here. So to start with, let's moisten our cardstock nicely, and then I'm going to add my balmy blue ink just to the bottom of that acrylic block. Give that a little bit of a spritz. You can see that's really loosened on there. Okay, and I'm going to turn that over and just add that like so. Okay, so there's quite a lot of water on this bit. And then when we lift it up, there is a little bit of a pool, which we can then tap off the excess. And that just gives a really nice little subtle line at the bottom of our card. If you want to add any more kind of detail, or you want a little bit of extra texture on there, just going to repeat at the bottom. Okay, so you can really get layers of colour, and I love that idea. So there we have a little bit of layer of colour. So I'm going to pop that to one side, and then we can go ahead and we can make some cards. Okay, so let's just close some of our ink pads. I'm just going to take this top layer of my grid paper off because that's now wet. Okay, and I'm going to grab some card for us to make a little card base. Okay, so let me know what you think of that technique. It's definitely one that you need to practice, I think, to get used to how much ink you need to want to use, and how much, you know, colour you really do want on those pieces, on those blocks. Okay, so I've got two lovely card bases here, both cut from balmy blue cardstock, and we're going to use these on our cards. Okay, so that's a lovely little backdrop. It is quite fun, Gina, it really is, and it's you can create so many different looks. You can use any type of block you want, any shape block, and I think it's a great way to just get more out of your tools. Okay, so we've just added that to our card base, and I'm going to add this one as well. Where's my glue gone? Here it is. Right, so there we have our two little pieces, okay, like so. And then let's open up these little puffins, shall we? Love a puffin. So we'll have our little party puffin, and we'll have that one and this one. Should we have a cake as well? Yeah, let's have a cake. Why not? Let's go for it, shall we? Okay, so let's pop these on our blocks. I need to give my blocks a really good wash. They'll be going in the dishwasher in the next few days. Okay, so I'm just adding my stamps to my blocks, like so, and let's stamp these images. Let's grab a piece of white, shall we? So let's move these out the way, and we're just going to stamp one of each of these. Giving a really good inking of memento. Like so. They really are so cute, aren't they? And what I'm finding with these puffins is you really do need to ink them quite generously, because that's quite a large black area. If you're going to use black, that is, you might choose to have purple puffins. Wouldn't that be fun? Okay, so we've got our four stamped images now. I'm just going to put those up out of the way. And the great thing about these puffins is you don't need to add too much colour to them, which always gets my vote. So let's just use these. So I'm going to do a little bit of orange on the beak or the bill, whatever they call it. So I'm using the dark first, and then I'm using the light shade. Okay. And then we'll give him some lovely mango melody coloured feet, shall we? And this is just the dark. And then I'm not quite sure what to do with the cake at the moment, so we'll leave that spare. For the hat, let's have that as a nice dark poppy parade hat, shall we? So we're going to go quite bright with this one. Like so. Let's have the top of that as red as well. Okay, so I'm going to fussy cut around these. Promise not to take too long. Sue's just put, I love the extra spot stamp from the Puffins tummy. Yes, it's really handy actually. So in the Puffins tummy, I've left mine in there so I don't lose it mainly. But in here, you have an extra little stamp that you could use as a spot, which is quite useful. So let's just give him a little trim around. Trying not to cut his feet off. You could make a balloon out of it, you're right. Yeah, that would be a nice idea, wouldn't it? These really are cute puffins, aren't they? Okay, so I'm just following this around nicely. I'm leaving a little white border around the edge, which is just how I like to fussy cut things, mainly. Following like so, and I think I'm going to use this one on our yellow card. I think. Let's cut this one out. I must admit, I definitely did not see Puffins coming before I looked through the new catalogue. We always get really cute new stamps, cute little animal stamps, because they're always really popular. but I didn't see Puffins come in. The red in his hat pops against the mould, but it does, doesn't it? Yeah, I like that as well. Nearly finished. And there we have it. Those two. Puffins fly, don't they? Am I imagining that? I know there's been a David Attenborough programme that we've watched that has had puffins on it. But do they fly is the question. If they don't, they're going to on this card. They'll be magical flying puffins. Okay, so nearly there, I promise. Yes, they fly. Oh, I'm so glad I didn't dream that. Right, so we've got 3 puffins cut out now. And it's a shame he's not looking the other way, actually. But we'll ignore that for the moment. Right, so we've got this little puffin here. Let's have a punch, shall we? So we can stamp a little sentiment. Party puffins. Obviously it needs to be happy birthday, doesn't it? So let's have happy birthday. Okay, let's see if I've got a little scrap of white. So let's stamp a little happy birthday. Saw puffins in Iceland. Oh wow. That sounds amazing. My husband really wants to go to Iceland. Okay, so a lovely happy birthday sentiment. It's nice to have a plain looking happy birthday in a stamp set and not a swirly text one. Just trimming that down. That looks terrible, really wonky. Let's do that again. Sometimes it's nice to make things look permanently wonky, but there is a knack to it. So let's try again. Better. So we've got happy birthday, we've got a little puffin. Let's put that on a couple of pads. It's 100% recommend, 1000% recommend Iceland, one of the most beautiful countries I've visited. Well, that's nice. Okay, so we're putting on our little puffins. I'm adding them with little dimensionals. Okay. And then we can add our little cake, which is here. Which I need to colour in, don't I? These candles are going to be fun, aren't they? Don't think I'm going to trim all the way in between them, because knowing me, I will cut them off. so now let's do a little bit more colouring. Let's bring our blends in, and I'm going to keep with the same sort of colours. So I've got some Mango Melody, and I'm going to use that for the candles, the flames even. Let's have some dark Poppy Parade, and we'll have the plate in Poppy Parade as well. And then the icing, I'm going to do as the orange. Okay, so that looks quite cute, doesn't it? Like that. It's coming together quite nicely. Okay, so then we can just pop on our little cake. Like so. Cute card, Stacey. Thank you, Anne. That's really sweet of you. Like so. So that's a really simple card front, and we're just using that little background in there. Okay, now for this one we're going to do something a little bit similar. We're going to put the puffins on at an angle so they look like they are flying. Like so. And then this little guy can go down here. Down here. Okay. And then what other sentiments have we got? We've got to someone who makes others happy. You're the best from all of us. Make a wish and happy birthday. Let's use to someone who makes others happy. That's a really nice saying, isn't it? And what I like about this little piece we've got there, this kind of looks like the top of the water surface, I think. So we've got our little let's do what I always do, shall we? Let's do a bit of heat embossing. I feel like this card warrants a bit of heat embossing. Right, let's see what I've got. To someone who makes others happy. Around and give it a little bit of a heat. Got a little bit of edge of the stamp showing there. That's better. Sorry about that, guys. So, and then let's just snip this. To someone who makes others happy. Let's pop that on with a couple of dimensionals. Like so, and again a really simple card front. I do feel like that needs something else. We'll have a little think about that after, and I may add some extra little background pieces. Now to finish we just need to add a little bit of white inside, so let's cut that down. We want 9.5 by 13.9, and we want another one that is the same size, so 13.9 by 9.5. Okay, so a couple of little comments coming in. This is a lovely idea. I've missed some, but we'll catch up on replay. Was this my Instagram sneak peek? It was part of it, yes. We was having a little play last night. I had a team event, and the lovely Michelle Lars showed us this gorgeous technique. So I'm just playing around with it this evening. And will my catalogue, can people join in with your annual catalogue launch? People can join in, yes, Louise. It won't be on Facebook, it will be on Zoom. I'll be sharing the link on Friday next week to join. It is free. If you wanted to take part in the make and take, then there would be, the booking is closed as such, but no, you can watch it live on the day. Epoxy gems. Oh look, and they're right on my desk just here. What a great idea. Let's use some of those. Let's use these ones. Yeah, that's really nice. Like so. I really like that. That's lovely, isn't it? Okay. So that is my 2 finished cards this evening with that lovely acrylic block stamping technique. I do hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions or comments about any of the products or techniques I've used, please do let me know. I will be live on Sunday evening. I will be live at an earlier time of probably 7:30. The reason for that is we have the Line of Duty final at 9 o'clock and I really don't want to miss it. So and I'm sure those of you that follow me that also watch that programme will not want to miss it. So yes, 7:30 on Sunday evening, I'll be live right here before Line of Duty. I do hope you can join me. Thanks so much for watching. Do take care. Bye for now.